Hello students, teachers, parents, history nerds. Hello everybody and welcome to Nutshelled History, where we lay out the facts, the good, the bad, and the ugly. We continue with our Modern World History series by looking at Europeans explore overseas. Don't forget that there's a link for a fill-in-the-blank worksheet in the description. I just ask that you like and subscribe. By the 1400s, Europe's population and its demand for trade goods from Asia were growing. Especially desirable were spices. The chief source of spices was the Moluccas, an island chain in present-day Indonesia. Arab and Italian merchants controlled most trade between Asia and Europe. Europeans outside Italy wanted direct access to Asia's trade goods. They also desired to spread Christianity, compete with other European countries, and gain glory for their country. In Portugal, Prince Henry encouraged sea exploration. He believed that Africa was the source of the riches the Muslim traders controlled. He also hoped to find a way to reach Asia by sailing along the coast. Cartographers prepared maps for the voyages. Then Henry's ship sailed south to Africa. Soon the Portuguese sailed around the southern tip of the continent. The Portuguese established footholds on the coast of Africa, building small forts and trading posts. In addition, they attacked coastal cities of East Africa, such as Mombasa and Malindi, which were hubs of international trade. They also took over the Arabs' thriving East African trade network. In 1497, Vasco da Gama led 4 Portuguese ships around the tip across the Indian Ocean and reached the great spice port of Calicut in India. Soon, the Portuguese seized ports around the Indian Ocean, creating a vast trading empire. Portugal's successes spurred others, including Christopher Columbus, to look for a western sea route to Asia. Columbus persuaded Ferdinand and Isabella of Spain to finance his voyage. In 1492, Columbus sailed west with 3 small ships. When the crew members spotted land, they thought they had reached the Indies. What Columbus had actually found, however, were previously unknown continents. The rulers of Spain appealed to the Spanish-born Pope Alexander VI to support their claims to the lands of this new world. The Pope set the line of demarcation, which divided the non-European world into 2 trading and exploration zones, one for Spain and one for Portugal. The 2 nations agreed to these terms in the Treaty of Tordesillas. Although Europeans had claimed vast territories, they had not yet found a western sea route to Asia. In 1519, a Portuguese nobleman named Ferdinand Magellan set out west from Spain to find a way to the Pacific Ocean. In 1520, he found a passageway at the southern tip of South America. Survivors of the long voyage, who did not include Magellan, finally returned to Spain nearly 3 years later. They were hailed as the first to circumnavigate the world. By the 1600s, several other European powers had established forts along the west coast of Africa. In 1652, Dutch immigrants arrived at the southern tip of the continent. They built Cape Town, the first permanent European settlement in Africa, to supply ships sailing to or from the East Indies. Dutch farmers, called Boers, settled the lands around the port. All right, it's recap time. European powers decided it was their God-given right to sail around the world, planting flags, claiming land, and introducing themselves to people who had been getting along just fine without them. Because clearly, if you haven't discovered something, it doesn't really exist, right? So, armed with a healthy dose of ethnocentrism and some shiny new boats, they set sail, totally ignoring the fact that the lands they discovered were already inhabited by thriving civilizations. But hey, who cares about pesky little details like that when there's gold to be found and empires to be built, right? Portugal will lead the way with dudes like Henry the Navigator. Bartolomeu Dias tried to get around the southern tip of Africa. He and his crew did, but they were worn out and went home. Then you have Vasco da Gama that made it around the tip of Africa and made it all the way to India. Christopher Columbus got jelly and got Spain to fund a westward quest to the Indies. Boom, he ran into 2 forgotten continents. Then Ferdinand Magellan went west too, got murdered in the Philippines, but he still gets credit for circumnavigating the world. There you have it, folks. That's Europeans explore overseas nutshelled. Thanks for visiting Nutshelled History. Go nuts on the like and subscribe buttons. What explorer do you think was the most nuts? Let us know in the comments section below.